Double humph. Now she has the gall to use it rather than she. Even after being chastised once already? Barely a moment has passed since we left. One has received your message from Ganyu. On the matter of the adeptus you seek. Well, shall one lead the way?
I still have to complete my training for today, so I will bid farewell to everyone here.
Very well. Await my arrival at one's abode later this night. On this special occasion, you should indulge yourself with some savory dishes.
If you want to release a Shao Lantern, come and find us and thank you, everyone.
Is this Quaily playing Cloud Retainer? Why did you bring us here?
Ganyu is of course familiar with the name Guizhong, but have you ever heard of her? Guizhong is another name of Agentis, the god of dust. She was extroverted in nature, and long ago, this region was yet a prosperous assembly. Guizhong often invited her friends to visit her home. Sea Gazer would always bring out his latest treasure and place it upon the table. He could be quite the braggart.
Paimon remembers that name. So that's what Sea Gazer was like.
He was an old friend and a former rival. One has many memories of him. Once he had brought out the treasure, it would predictably become the center of attention. Neither Guizhong nor one was content to... As Adepti, we were each gifted in our own ways, and naturally proud of our accomplishments in our respective fields of expertise. His treasures were not even of his own making. He just used his exploration skills to dig them out of the ground.
Cloud Retainer, you are getting competitive again.
One digresses. Regardless, every time an argument occurred, Guizhong would come over to watch us during our...
What kind of nonsense?
No kind of nonsense were we spared. Sometimes she would brazenly opine, why argue between yourselves when neither... She always sought to make everyone happy. And one must say, she had quite the gift. It also helped that she never referred to one as that...
Come on, get over yourself!
Anyway, just as our impassioned arguments would reach the apex of act, who would dare snub the Stove God and his wondrous creations? At the sight of him, we would all immediately... Back then, one was always bothered by how the cups Rex Lapis brought were always too square for one's taste. Can you see yourselves ever enjoying a drink from a square cup? Precisely. So, as you can see, even one as great as Rex Lapis was not immune to making... Even one could never find fault with Marchosius's cooking. As we ate, Guizhong would Each of those old fossils had their character flaws and points of obstinacy. We would drink together from a spot high in the mountains, until the moon... Streetwood Rambler would often remain to admire the flowers with Guizhong.
Streetward Rambler?
That would be Ping. You probably know her as Madam Ping.
Oh, okay. Wait, this is a lovely story and everything, but Or are you saying that it was Guizhong? Didn't she...
Alas, long has one avoided this place for precisely that reason. One should have guessed that you would disrupt one's poignant moment. No matter. one. In times gone by, one quarreled oft with Guizhong concerning mechanical principles. We each had our ideals, and neither would yield. Under the pretext of a social gathering, one invited the impartial Rex Lapis to judge the quality of our creations. But Rex Lapis declared that Guizhong's obscuro vulpus mechanism was superior. Though one was too proud to acknowledge it, in one's heart, one knew that Guizhong was indeed the superior talent in the mechanical arts. As for the story between Guizhong and Streetward Rambler, that begins with a certain bell. In Guizhong's opinion, while mechanisms were no substitute for human composers, they were yet capable of producing simple but fine melodies. But Streetward Rambler believed music to be an expression of the soul, an emotional enterprise that could never hope to be replicated by machinery. They argued endlessly, until one asked Rex Lapis to intercede. He confiscated the bell and designated it for ceremonial use. Thereafter, one would often find them convening in the mountains, discussing music, mechanics, and all the affairs of the mortal world. But these good times were not to last. War broke out between the gods, and soon engulfed the Guili Plains. Guizhong was overpowered by the enemy, and fell in battle. When Streetward Rambler and I arrived at the scene at long last, all that remained among the ruins was her lifeless body. After this, at Streetward Rambler's request, Rex Lapis granted her the cleansing bell for safekeeping. To honor our friend's memory, one made a few finishing touches to her ballistic device. Many lantern rites have passed since then. Many greetings and goodbyes. Upon what do you gaze? The Guili Plains?
No. It's everything. We think of human life as like a lantern that's lit one minute and extinguished the next. But are we adepti so different? Perhaps as dust settles after a storm, we too must one day return to the world below.
One has always been austere and private by nature, and has never relished socializing.
What? You have loads of friends!
Just because one is not ignorant of social graces does not mean one is fond of them. But in the end, one is nothing like Streetward Rambler. She is dauntless but thoughtful. Not to mention, back when they were rivals, they would often compete against one another. That cleansing bell was one of Guizhong's proudest works. Having the...
Wait! That's weird. Didn't Madame Ping say she pestered an old friend? And she also said something about being a vain beauty when she was young.
Streetward Rambler. A vain beauty. That bell has a sad history. Clearly she... As for her old friend, as soon as Streetward Rambler heard that a certain Zhang Li wished to borrow the bell, she realized that the man was none other than Rex. After all, we all have known each other for several millennia. Some things between us are implicitly...
Whoa! So they were talking in secret code?
Enough of your intrusions. The cleansing bell is powered by a mechanical art, and can be used to great effect as an accompaniment. But Streetward Rambler did not acquire it from Rex Lapis for the purpose of producing further funerary tune. The two once clashed over their beliefs about the meaning of music. Once upon a time, Streetward Rambler also loved gatherings, liquor, and music. But after Guizhong passed, she preferred her own. Music would go from mournful to soothing. Many years passed before she finally composed a melody to her satisfaction. Which brings one back to the matter you've been investigating. Perhaps it was during that performance that the ancestor...
But If she was so happy with the melody, why would she only play it once?
One was also greatly perplexed by this. After suppressing one's curiosity, in response, though the strings that played that melody survive, the one who inspired it is gone. Tell me.
Aww.
I just remember being taken care of by you when I was young. Once the Archon although I met Guizhong a few times.
Guizhong was quite the visionary, but tragically passed before. Had you not decided to search for that mystery adeptus, as of now, you know the truth. That the adeptus who rescued the drowning man was none other than Streetwood Rambler. Do you intend to discuss this with her?
Do you mean Ping might find the topic too distressing?
Precisely. The passing of our old friend is a heavy topic that both of us...
If I may be so bold, Cloud...
Oh? How so?
I've been in Leo Harbor for quite a long time now, and I've witnessed many farewells, but this doesn't bring the city or its people. Someone as perceptive and wise as Ping will surely... Though these immortal mountains have lost an adeptus, no loss can ever be undone. But there is... Ping has helped countless people, and will guide many others in the year... Though it is heartbreaking to lose a kindred spirit.
We even asked Madame Ping what she thought about adding a music festival to this year's Lantern Rite. When we get back, why don't we just ask her if she'd like to perform? Maybe we can even get her...
You youngsters and your imagination...
Why don't you come with us? It's been a long time since you last spoke with Ping.
Is not every Lantern Rite the same in this regard? Were there ever anything new to discuss?
I disagree. Each new day and each new year is different from those that have come before.
The edibles she brought this... Very well. Then one will be off. If the other old fossils have sneaked away into the city to amuse themselves, one shall soon find out.
All right. We should be getting back to the harbor as well. Say, if we planted flowers there...
Allow one to take back one's praise from a moment prior. You are still far too given...
What? Cloud Retainer?
One observed that you were making no effort to leave, and returned to chasten and hasten you. This time...
Whoa! Madame Ping?
It appears you made haste after all.
Oh, bless my soul. To what do...
Miss Illuminated Bird, haven't you said it?
Said what, precisely? And why should one be tapped?
'Cause you're the one who's known Madame Ping.
Street word. Or rather...
Oh, Cloud Retainer.
One, given that Lantern Rite is almost upon us, the... Ganyu?
Huh? All right. So, this all started because we were trying to help Mr. Dvorak. Cloud Retainer informed us that the one who played that melody and rescued the drowning man was...
Let me think. What a long time ago that was. I'm surprised. Even more astonishing, perhaps, is the fact that this story has survived this long at all. It appears that she has proven herself...
Who's